Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And in today's video, I have another network update for you guys from AT&T. This is actually a video of the CTO explaining the advantages of the standalone 5G core. So I will leave this light reading article in the description down below so you guys can see the video. But just to summarize it and break it down and give you guys my opinion. So what he's talking about here is the standalone portion of the 5G. So if you guys remember early in the summer, AT&T announced their nationwide launch of the 5G. This happened on the low band portion. So they weren't at that time, I believe they weren't running DSS just yet. They were splitting the band 5 spectrum off, so they would run some of it on 5G. So they can say, look, we have the 5G icon and it's nationwide. Once again, just like we've seen with T-Mobile, it did not perform much better than what we've seen on LTE. In fact, in some cases, it might have even performed worse. So just like T-Mobile just went standalone, AT&T is also planning to go standalone 5G. And according to them, it's happening at a record pace. Now, does that mean anything? Yes and no. So he's going to explain to you in this video the network slicing, flexibility, that's all good, great, right? Lower latency, that's great. What does this really mean from a performance standpoint? Really nothing. It's going to be a case of them moving to standalone low band, more than likely, and it's going to perform the same as we've seen T-Mobile's perform. There's going to be no huge improvements, no generational leap. It's going to be a very similar performance to what we're used to on these LTE networks today. So I think there's a lot more needed, of course, in terms of spectrum that's actually spectrum clear that you can use strictly for 5G that's not tied up into LTE. I think that's one thing, and I think that's why Verizon really wanted to wait until they launched their nationwide footprint, because they were hurting on spectrum. They really, unless it was DSS, they really couldn't break off a slice of spectrum and just move it over to 5G, because that would have hurt their performance on LTE. T-Mobile, they had more of that band 71, so they did it without DSS because they had a little bit more to go around. And now, especially with the N41, they can split it between LTE and 5G if they so choose to. But with AT&T, I feel like they need to do more. I think they have yet to undergo a real big densification project because of the fact that they've had the spectrum that they did on LTE. So that's lacking there. They need better optimization, better handoffs. So there's still a lot of work for AT&T that needs to be done on a nationwide basis. Don't get me wrong, I know some markets are great. Philadelphia, I'm hearing, is great. New York City. But I think AT&T, when everyone else started adjusting to densification, T-Mobile early on, their HSPA was on midband, so they knew the name of the game was going to be data. So they built their grid, their network tower grid, on midband, so it's a lot more dense. Verizon, they early on started the same way as AT&T did. They laid over their 3G towers with LTE low band and they pushed it. But ever since then, and then in 2017, they ramped up densification. So now they have a really solid footprint to really push midband for what it's meant for. AT&T, they have not yet gotten there. They're using C-RAN, small cells, they're adding towers, so they're starting to slowly ramp that up, but they're going to need more. They're going to need a much more denser network footprint, especially come C-band time, if they do want to purchase a pretty good chunk of that. So if you guys know, as Sprint had those issues with 2.5, as the frequencies go higher, you need a denser footprint to make it work, because it does not travel a certain distance or as long as you may need it to. So instead of just having one tower, you have to build another tower in another area so it can work, so it doesn't drop off so quickly and you lose the speed. So that was the issue with Sprint with the 2.5. They didn't have the densification, So when you were close enough to the tower, you got good speeds. But then when you moved further away and band 25 picked up, you had a huge drop in speed. So that's something that AT&T has to figure it out. They got the money. They seem to have a very good team behind this. They're pushing the network right now. They're getting it over to standalone. The core virtualization was something they did early on. They may be actually ahead of the other competitors on virtualizing their core. Even Verizon, they may be ahead of that. They don't really talk about that much in the media, but I know for sure they're ahead of in that department against T-Mobile, and they may even be further along on the core virtualization compared to Verizon. So let me know what you think about this. Again, watch the video. I will leave the article in the description down below. Look forward to reading your comments. If you have been on the channel, you can go ahead and end this video now. If you are new, you look forward to updates, more content like this. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell through YouTube so you are notified when I do upload the content. Again, I'm still receiving emails as of this morning. If you are not getting the notifications pushed, make sure to follow my Twitter. I do post the videos on the Twitter, and the push notification works much better through Twitter. Thanks again for watching. This is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.